Hello everyone and welcome to Murphy's Law Garage. Today, I show you something about your brand new jack stands you're getting from your Harbor Freight jack stand recall that you really need to do to make them safer. And don't be surprised if you didn't know it was something you were supposed to do on the old ones as well. And if you stick around till after that, we're going to do some more testing on these jack stands using comments and suggestions from viewers of the very last video. Y'all hang around.
Dang it.
So what is it, you might ask, is something you missed on your old stands that need to be done on the new stands? And that is this right here. Okay, so this jack stand is, I don't know, 3 years old now. It's been through a lot. This is the jack stand from David's shop that held up the 7.3 Power Stroke Bronco while we were building it. And it's seen some stuff. And not to mention, for testing purposes, both of these jacks have been sitting out in the rain, rolling around in the back of my truck for a couple of days, just to make sure they're nice and worn in. But this safety right here is actually designed to maintain the anvil inside of the stand. Now you might ask, what's the purpose of that? Why can't I just take it out of the top? The problem is that you have to build a tool for somebody who just doesn't know better, right? And what you don't want is for someone to separate these two pieces, go to use the stand, want it as tall as possible, and do something like this. That looks ridiculous, right? But you got to remember, these tools have to be built to be a little bit foolproof. So then you would ask yourself, well, why did Harbor Freight send you a jack where this wasn't done already? And that's actually kind of an interesting question, because even their aluminum jacks are already pinned in to where you can't pull the anvil out of the stand. But in this case, obviously, that's not happening. So what has to be done is this little tab right here has to be peened over into this groove in the anvil to ensure that it cannot escape. And if you look real close here, it says prevent serious injury, bend tab after inserting bar. The reason they don't come that way is packaging, right? So they can take these things, stick them in a tiny little box, do this, and then hang the anvils around them, and the package is smaller. But not just that, you don't have as much ability for a moving part that's being stood up, like the teeth on these anvil, from wiggling around and chewing a hole in the box. So that's why they have them that way. By the way, while we're sitting here talking about it, let's put these two side by side so that people can get another view, this time live on camera, as to what the difference in these two teeth look like. It is very significant. And something else, a comment from other viewers, was that, hey guy, the pawl, which is this bit right in here, that pawl is not square on the new unit. Well, it is. See? It's square. Now look at the old one. This is one of David's, and though the pawl is shaped square, the casting is, the hole they put through the casting, or however they drill that hole in there, was not. And you end up in a situation where the pawl is actually still leading with that corner right here. And it's actually evident, you see the wear in the paint? That it's only ever rubbing on this side of the teeth. But if I put it in here and set it down, you can see that this one still displays that same hair trigger effect. Look at all this slack here. I'm gonna lift, gone. I mean, ever so barely. Now, if I take the new unit, let's get it in here. If I take the new unit and I lift up on this lever, see how much it had to move? It is in there much deeper. And when you move it, you see how it's physically moving the anvil? Get that a little higher. See, I'm gonna pick up on it You can't even, once you get past the slack, it immediately drops. So you see the slack right here? As soon as you go past that little bit of movement from the slack, it drops. You don't have that option here. This, you see the anvil is physically moving when I lift the handle, and when I lift far enough, it goes. So that shows you just how much of a hair trigger. And it's not to say that this used gently and you're not rolling around under a truck where you could kick this handle while, let's say, replacing a transmission or something, that it couldn't be used relatively safely. But that's not the point. Is that kid walks around, bumps into it, throws a ball at it, you're laying under a truck and you flail your foot around and you do this, you gone. Something else we talked about on here is, so these stands, when they're underweight, are designed in such a way that they should not be able to fall if you lift the handle, as long as the anvil has weight on it. Assuming they're designed properly, if the handle were to get rammed by something, it's supposed to shear this pin right here. And this is something people pointed out a lot. It's something I'm aware of, but I did not put it in the previous videos. So it would be important for y'all to actually know that that's a thing. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to jack the back of the truck up. I need a place where I can safely test this. I'm going to put a stand the right direction, the way people would normally use it, perpendicular to the body of the truck. And I'm going to pick up the truck and set the hitch down on it. And no one here can say that the back end of this 7,000 pound truck isn't at least putting a few thousand pounds on this jack back here when I pick up the whole back. And we're going to try to upset it in the most safe environment I can give, possibly giving what people will feel comfortable saying is at least a few thousand pounds. So first, let's peen these over like they were supposed to be. And this one hasn't been for 3 years. And then we'll get into that test. Well, I've got them peened over, but isn't it a crying shame that, see, this is a really tough, durable coating Harbor Freight had on these old stands. No damage when bent over. Meanwhile, the new stands, the paint is garbage. Like, this is gonna fall off and rust away in no time flat. Good job, Harbor Freight. All right, so hopefully we can all agree that that jack stand is in a very precarious position. It is fully extended. Someone's gonna say that lever's not all the way down. It's all the way down. All the way down. And both wheels are off the ground, so they're, just enough. There's about 3 inches on either side. So if the truck were to fall, hopefully it won't hurt itself too bad. So if we can all agree on that we've got a bunch of weight on it, we should be able to try to upset it. So, well, let's try to shake it. That was a workout. Don't give me the you're out of breath was out of breath for that one. It's a lot of work to shake a big truck like this. So that wasn't a thing. It actually seems like the truck rolled forward a bit. I don't have the front chalked. We're not going for safety here, right? The truck seemed to have slid forward a bit on the stand, but it ain't moving. And you saw there, the stand was physically rocking back and forth a lot, and it didn't let go. Unfortunately, David's stand from the Bronco does not appear to have as defective of a casting on the pawl as my unit did. So, that being said, the question is, can we force this stand to collapse? Let's try that. I'd be lying
if I didn't tell you, I'm very nervous to do this. So let's give it a foot bump and a run, okay? This is also a rubber boot, not a leather boot like I had before with a steel toe in it. Not falling, okay? Let's give it a little bit more force. Nope. Nope, not going. Woo! Let me catch my breath up before I get called fat and unhealthy again. I'm just gonna stand here next to my very precariously balanced truck on its hitch with what is supposed to be a defective jack stand. Quick intermission here. Just take a look at how much weight was on this stand. It actually, if we look under here, caused a good bit of damage to the underneath of this hitch. Not structural, but it was a significant amount of weight. But what I find interesting is how much it managed to flatten this material out and actually rolled the edge over like this. That's not good. This is a very, very, very soft potted metal, melted car spring situation going on here. And the issue with that is something that could become a future problem is that pawl drags along these teeth on the anvil. And if the metal is this soft, you might only get so many times of dragging the anvil in and out of here before you could round the edges of these teeth off enough that it would be even more hazardous than how poorly shot the teeth are already compared to how significantly substantial. You see just how straight and sharp these edges are, how deep they are, how deep the ramp is versus this. Let's see if I can get these side by side. Probably not easily. Not in the sun like that. There you go. That's a huge difference. Now, like I've said, David's jack stand does not look as defective casting wise as my other one did, which had a good solid, instead of 90, 80, 85 degree rake to the pawl. And I don't feel unsafe right now standing next to this truck picked up off the ground on this stand, solely because it's putting a lot of weight on that stand. And like I analyzed in the previous video, and that's the question here, are these stands actually defective? Well, yes, they are. They've maimed and killed people. Go look in the comments section of our last video. There's tons of people talking about it happening to them or a friend. They're unsafe. They need to be gotten rid of. The moral of the story here is a little bit of engineering and physics. This truck is extremely heavy. 7,000 pounds, extremely heavy. It's putting a lot of weight on that jack, and it's digging that pawl in, and it doesn't want to back off and come down. But when we use the trailer, which our best estimate is the trailer is about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds, I would say there's at least 2,000 pounds were on those stands because I had the whole trailer picked up onto the ball hitch. The tires were mostly off the ground. They were more than willing to fall off, which means if your mid-sized car, your Camry or something like that is on there, or even worse, a Yaris, a small car, it's going to fall down if you hit that stand. So y'all need to get these jack stands returned. I guess in the long run to say, a lot of people were saying that you're an idiot for kicking the stand, yada, yada. Well, you're not wrong. If someone's kicking a stand on purpose, it's not okay. But when you're rolling around in a vehicle, changing a transmission or something, there's a good chance you're going to kick a stand. If you've ever done it before, you've kicked a stand. I'm just saying, all right? So for sure, please, please, please remember to bend that little retainer in to make sure the anvil can't come out. That's a safety feature. Not only does it make sure the anvil can't lift out and get put in the wrong position, but it also helps with the anvil being able to rock to and fro. So take y'all new stands, get those suckers pinned in there properly. Y'all be safe. Thank you very much for watching this video. We love you. Peace.